Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unfolding the Soul. Today's guest is Jack Harris,
Hello.
and he's one of the members of the Discord. And we've
Yeah.
been on the journey for over a year with each other. Like, I don't know how long
Oh
exactly.
yeah. Yeah. A little over a year on the Awakening from the Meaning Crisis Discord and the Bridges of Meaning Discord as well now.
Yeah,
I was
so
an expat from the coffee house Discord
a
originally.
refugee.
No, nothing like that.
So he's here today to talk about chronic illness and how that manifested and relates to his life. So, Jack, why don't you tell us a little bit of where chronic illness became something that was important to you?
Yeah, so it became important to me. Gosh, uh, 13 years ago, I was 12 years old, getting health problems, uh, doing number twos like 20 times a day. Didn't know what was going on. Previously, before that, according to my mom, I was also getting health problems where I'd fall asleep at by like 7 o'clock at night and wake up, you know, late as well. So I was getting like 13 hours of sleep a night. Um, yeah, started getting that. Um, and then that brought me to a gastroenterologist who, did first an endoscopy, which is the down the throat, and they found some ulcers in my stomach. So like, where is that? I don't know. Um, so they said maybe it's because I was taking a lot of Advil at the time because I was doing a lot of sports. Um, But then a colonoscopy revealed even more ulcers in my colon and inflammation in my, colon and small intestine, um, bigger ones. So then they're like, oh, something else is going on here. They gave me a test. They have a test for Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease affecting the gastrointestinal tract. And so they gave me that test. The test came up negative. So like, okay, it's not that. Well, what is it? It might be stress. It might just be that you're allergic to something or have a food. You're allergic to some food that you're eating. So went through all that. Nothing worked, and then they gave me another colonoscopy, and they said, the test came back negative for Crohn's disease, but this colonoscopy. This looks like Crohn's disease. I had like 13 ulcers. Just in my large intestine and part of my small intestine. Um, and so they're like, yeah, we don't have to test you. We're just going to say you have Crohn's and treat you as such. Um, so I was treated as such. Unfortunately, around 2008, my parents couldn't afford to put me on their health care any longer. So I was without medications for about 2 months. But the solution for that was that I go into social services um, and go in their healthcare system. Unfortunately for that, there's a lot of restrictions. I wasn't allowed access to certain medications that actually worked and helped. So I was on basically third rate medications for treating Crohn's. When I was 14, 15, I had this one medication. Oh,
Well,
called Remic. Oh,
hold on.
yeah.
Yeah, so you had a big change in your life going
Yeah.
into these systems and having this chronic disease. So tell us a little bit like how your life changed, right? Like
hmm
you were doing a lot of sports, like
Yeah. I was doing a lot of sports. Yeah, my life changed. I didn't want to face it for a long time, so I continued with the sports, despite the health problems. My life changed. More tired all the time. Um, Suddenly didn't have energy to do a lot of things. I was experiencing chronic pain that just wasn't going away. Like um, a lot of newfound um, terrors that that I suddenly became privy to. Um, my life opened up in a way that was hard to navigate as an adolescent. Yeah. Um,
So give us an example, right? Like, so what you're talking about coming from a space where well, you had some issues, right? But everything
yeah.
was fairly normal,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now everything is flipped, right? So
Of
what
course.
would a day look like before, and what would a day look like after?
Yeah. Day to day. Well, day to day, I would be hanging out with friends, riding my bike everywhere. Before Crohn's, riding my bike everywhere. Um, just you know, doing a lot of things. And then with Crohn's, it just became okay. I do what I have to do. I do what I need to do, and then the rest of the time I spend resting,
Mhm.
and recuperating, and recovering, and lamenting as well. And,
Mhm.
a lot
So
of
you got
I had a lot
isolated.
more, way much more isolated. Yeah, much more isolated. Um, I lost a lot of friends. Um, Also started feeling very sorry for myself. Um, just like uh, just started cursing, uh, you know, cursing the gods I believed in. And trying to find new ones simultaneously that would console me better.
Mhm.
um, yeah. Um, Thought I was possessed by a demon for a while. Yeah, trying. Yeah, so I basically I had much more time on my hands and much less time on my hands at the same time. A lot more times to ruminate, right? A lot more time to sit there with myself, bored, basically using my imagination to entertain myself
So
in
so
positive
so,
and negative ways.
so why didn't you do activities like
Well,
low
I
energy
was
activities?
I didn't think of them as worth my time. Uh, I started playing a lot of video games.
Mhm.
Um, Took up a lot of my time, but I was never that into video games. I always prided myself on athletics. So a lot of my time was spent trying to be well enough just to be able to play football, essentially. Um, a lot of my time was spent, researching, what foods I should be eating or should not be eating, or what treatments I should be doing. I also started spending a lot of time watching conspiracy theory videos online. Um, oh man, Jesse Ventura on True TV. Uh, yeah, different channels that were along those lines. I spent a lot of time, well, as any teenage boy does, I spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos on how to like get girls to like me, uh, without actually putting in the effort to do it. You know, just didn't think. I took on an attitude where I was always observing life, right? Um, not really participating. A lot of it was fear-based. A lot of it just unwarranted fear. But I mean,
What type of fear? Like, were you afraid of the disease? Were you afraid of how you would live your life? Like, what was the fear
no,
related to?
yeah, wasn't afraid of the disease. I mean, it became quite normal. I think my main fear was just a fear of rejection. Like if I'm rejected, then there's nobody to take care of me. If there's nobody to take care of me, then I don't know. I don't know what would happen.
Mm-hmm. So the disease put you in a state of dependency, or at least perceived dependency, and
no, literal dependency. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot I couldn't do. I was in a lot of pain. Yeah. Also, from an early age, I started getting these things called anal fistulas, which it made it hard to walk and just hard to move in general. So I just spent a lot of my time dealing with that, and also preparing myself for sports, because I did play football up until I was 17 years old. It's weird. Yeah. Like as a freshman in high school, I was a sick kid. I was about 120 pounds, like 5'6". Yeah. I didn't grow at all from 6th grade to 9th grade. So I was 5'6" in 6th grade. And then 5'6" until I hit this major growth spurt in like 10th grade, where I just shot up to like 5'11".
So would it be fair to describe what you were going through was dealing with the moment, like the immediate threats, or were you also like relating to the future?
No, dealing with the immediate threats. And then when proceeding with caution, I've never really, long-term future, I still don't think about that very much. So, yeah, mostly dealing with immediate threats. Yeah.
So you mentioned the not growing. Was that a thing that you were aware of in the moment, right? Like, was that a thing that you flagged as important?
The immediate threats, you mean?
No, no, not growing. Like that's now something that you reflect upon. But was that when you were that age, right? Like, were you actually?
Yeah, from an early age, I was always the biggest kid in class, like always. I was always one of the tallest kids in class, the strongest. Like I played youth football from like 7 years old, so I was, I mean, I'd say I was wanted, right? And then when Crohn's disease hit, my pride in my size and in my athletic ability diminished, right? So, and it took me a long time to realize that was just an unhealthy thing to take pride in general, or just to have pride at all. But yeah, I just deflated my ego a lot. But I never learned how to like let go of my ego. So a lot of my life was spent reinflating my ego, and then major health problems coming in, deflating my ego, right? Trying to reinflate it back up again.
So what would that look like? Like what would you use to inflate your ego?
It took up a lot of forms. So sports, also new age spirituality. Um, I mean, also, being I have a pretty sharp mind, so being the smartest kid in class, right? Yeah. I didn't get good grades, but I would always try really hard on like writing papers, and I always loved to raise my hand and answer questions. um, yeah, so just like finding the things, right, that I exceed in, right, and thinking that those things make me powerful. Now that my body is not cooperating.
So you're in the struggle. Is there a moment where things changed? The disease.
Yeah, took a what?
No, go ahead.
Took a good turn. Like my health got better. Yeah, there's a medication I was on when I was like 14, 15 called Remicade. It worked for about a year and a half, 2 years. In that time, I went from 120 pounds to 185 pounds. I grew like a lot. I grew up like 5'11", 5'10", from 5'6". But and people, it's weird. I was having a lot of fun. I was having a good time during that time, but people would describe me as an asshole, a dick. But I had friends, but I guess they were just dicks too, whatever. But it that I got antibodies to that medication, so that wore off pretty quickly. I was able to start priding myself in sports again, because I was a sophomore and I was going toe to toe with the varsity guys, starting to, and then health problems come in, and my pride gets stricken, my ego deflates once again, right? It's sort of this like, yeah, it was tragic to me, but it's not really tragic in the long run of things, but at the
Yeah, but
time.
it's not only pride; it's also hope, right? Like you see the world open up for you, and then it just get collapsed back into
Mm-hmm.
no, get back here.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Collapse of hope. Yeah, I didn't have hope for a long time, and it made me very resentful towards life. Um, in late teens, I started smoking a lot of weed. You know, uh, started experimenting with different things, even different identities and personalities, and I just, I, yeah, hated life for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds to me like you were like flailing for control, and you were just like looking for every tool in the shed.
Yeah, even yeah. Uh huh. No, yeah, looking for control. Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's weird. Yeah. When I was younger, or I guess still now, I tell myself things about myself to make myself like seem good to myself. But when I get in like an actual thing, like a romantic relationship, or this happened more in my teens, but when I get in like a romantic relationship, then it's like, oh, like I didn't realize at the time, but I was behaving the complete opposite of what I thought about myself. You know, like cool guy, hands off, relaxed, calm. But no, I was dating this one girl, and I was just like forcing her to do things, controlling her, right, trying to control her. And she got tired of it. She just shrugged me off. She's like, you know. Of course, for me at the time, that was like, no, like, just in the depths, putting me back in the depths of no control.
Was that no
No hope.
control the same no control as the disease, or was it like, did you make that connection for yourself?
Yeah, I made that connection, but it's not a right connection to make.
Right, but
Because like with
it's important
what's
that you
up?
did in the moment, right?
Yeah, I did in the moment. Yeah,
So how did that look like? Were you like blaming your disease for?
yeah, I was blaming everything except me. Um, I mean, yeah, just imagining things. Yeah, basically like creating my own tweets in my head that I give likes and shares and follows to about my disease. Like a teenager writing poetry, right? Uh, yeah. Um, hmm what was the question again?
Well,
I
I
forget.
was figuring out, right, like, so you have this stuff that happens to you. In some sense it's disconnected from the disease, right? But it's still affected by the fact that you have to go through your struggle. Um,
hmm
so the question is, like, how much are you identifying with that struggle being the cause of your failure? Um,
Oh yeah, that. I mean, pretty much 100. I mean, pretty much 100%. Uh, yeah, and I mean, like at home and with friends, I'd get blamed for things that were the disease's fault, right? Like I can't do anything about that. I don't know, but it's an issue that I'm not able to do something. Um, but me, yeah, 100% identifying with the disease, telling myself that the Crohn's is me. Um, it's an integral part of me, you know, that I could not part with or imagine any other life without, right? Years of doing that. I would say it's been very recent that I've stopped. Or
so,
it's a constant struggle to rid myself of that mindset, I would say.
mhm. So would you also say that blaming the disease was your way to avoid taking responsibility?
Yeah, a lot of the times, yes.
Mhm.
Um, oh man, yeah. It's avoiding taking responsibility. Oh, avoiding a lot of things. It's it's a weird thing though, because when it's a chronic illness and it's major pain, it's very easy because I mean, I'm feeling a little bit of pain right now in my butt. It's like, okay, focus on that and fix on that. That the feeling, right? Um, I think it was more. mm, Yeah, there's definitely using the disease to avoid responsibility. Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, I don't know any other way to put it.
yeah, Peterson told me well, not me, said this thing about you have to be careful, not to give over to your disease, right? Because if you keep giving over to your disease, you don't know where your disease stops and where you begin, right? Like you don't see the distinction between your disease and you, right? You don't know where your agency is.
Yeah, yeah. So that's an issue. That's also an issue about talking about things like disease, because when you talk about disease, you're invoking the disease.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, it's not contagious. Well, I mean, what about, mentally, spiritually contagious? I mean, these things are contagious in that way. And yeah, you're right. Peterson, I listen to that too. I listen to Peterson also say, illness and disease isn't evil. That was a big little snippet. I think it was like an Akira the Dawn song or something that I heard that in.
Yeah,
But
how did that land?
Didn't want to accept it at first,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the truth. And no, I don't want to do that. But yeah, it's oh man. Yeah, illness, just disease, it isn't evil. It's the way that we orient towards it is evil.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, but the problem is with bringing out something like this, like chronic illness or disease, is that it does bring out the spirit, and a lot of people don't know how to orient towards it. Like for instance, I was in the emergency room, or I was in the hospital like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Just a little bit above 2 weeks ago. And I came out fine. They gave me a bunch of steroids. I had a blockage in my intestines, so what they did, like, well, we could do surgery, but it's not, let's just keep it going. So they gave me a bunch of steroids to strengthen my intestines and reduce the inflammation. And then they just gave me a bunch of laxatives to push everything through. And that worked, right? I'm still getting a little bit of pain down there, but it's fine. It's decreasing. I'll just adjust my diet or whatever. But the one of my people that I work with in the office, we do student government. So, but yeah, when I work with, she was talking about how she was in the emergency room and it was bad, and she got like a UTI, and stuff. And I'm like, oh, dude, I was in the ER too. And then they're like, oh, really? Yeah. And then, of course, I have to unfold the explanation of what it is, right? And it was just complete, like, dead air, right? After I explained it, I was like, yeah, okay, well, that's not a good thing to, like, to make people feel like that, because they like, it's not their fault. They're young and they're healthy and they just don't understand disease. But bringing it on in certain respects is too much, and it itself creates disease, spiritual disease. Yeah. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, so you got into puberty, started smoking weed, so it sounds like you went into some sort of rebellious phase where you...
Yeah. Right. Yeah, rebellious phase. Oh yeah. Yeah, rebellious phase. Yeah, rebelling against daddy, basically. Yeah, I mean, right after high school, I moved to San Francisco. Lived there for like 2 years, 8 months. About worked mostly in a grocery store, full time. Tried to go to school, didn't work out. I was getting all kinds of health problems there too, and I realized, like, oh man, it's not the bad vibes around me that are causing this thing. Although San Francisco has a lot of bad vibes itself, but it's it doesn't matter, like, where I'm at. I can't just escape. Because before, I guess I thought, like, oh, if I just move away, from my, at the time I thought, dreadful family, right? If I move away from all this negativity, then it's gonna dissipate and go away. And no, it's not. Yeah. Yeah. I moved there 2 months after having a major surgery. And yeah, it was, I mean, good experience, great experience. Met a lot of friends, met a lot of cool people. I went to a lot of cool places despite everything, but just found myself in the same situation, the same rut. And moving away from the parents, that's where I realized that it's me and the way that I interact with it. You know, it's not what, you know, like what Dr. Frankenstein thinks, where the world's just attacking him. It's me, that the agent in
right.
my own
Well, yeah,
life.
that's one thing, right? Like, so you're like, okay, like I guess I'm part, right? Like I'm participating with my disease, right? Like
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the start of the road, right? Like that's not the end. Like now your journey starts.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, like where do you go when you have that realization?
where do I go when I have what? That realization?
Yeah, like what do you do?
I get really depressed, man. Um, I moved back. I moved back home, and man, I got an office job doing quality assurance testing on software applications. Not the worst thing in the world. It wasn't, but the way I was behaving was just super. I want to say super masochistic. You know, super sadistic. Just like, oh boy, I'm never gonna have that wonderful magical ending where everything is just gonna be grand and amazing. You know, where I'm
Mhm.
gonna be in paradise, at least in this life. Um, so yeah, I hated the world even more. I must say, for a
So
while.
so instead of embracing the potential, right? Like, oh, now I have something that I can work on. You were like driven into despair.
I was driven into despair. Yeah, like, oh, I have to work on this. Oh wow, you know, I always say I was always like a kind of like a hippie kid smoking a lot of weed. So I was always say life's a journey, you know. But I didn't know what a journey was, or my thoughts of a journey were very paradisical, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh man, you know, I'm on a journey and this I'm just I'm the best, you know. I'm the good I'm the good one. Um, yeah, it's hmm it's I would say things started. My outlook started getting better. Well, my outlook started getting better when I started reading like really long, difficult books that share a lot about life, essentially. So, and I got into this because I was having health problems, um, and I had to sit on like a sitz bath, which is normally like what pregnant women sit on. So I had to sit on a sitz bath 15 minutes a day, like 3 times daily for like, gosh, was it 3 years? Something like that. Yeah, 3 years, about 3 years. Yeah, because of my fistula. So I have two chronic fistulas. Um, and unfortunately, they snake through my sphincter. So they're going to be there probably for the rest of my life. Um, it was really like man. So yeah, I started reading long form books, and I just started getting a perspective of life that I never thought before. Like before that, it was like new age spiritual Instagram pages and videos on YouTube and stuff. Not the good kind, but like sort of these poorly researched or just uh, outright bull or lies about why I'm so special, right? Well, not why I'm so special. The video was like why you are so special, but like The Secret and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so I started getting like War and Peace was my first one, and this is where I started getting introduced to, man, I don't have to fight. I don't have to keep on fighting in life, you know. But at the same time, like letting go for me, letting go of the fight was just utterly like terrifying and devastating. Like I just remember like, what is it like to let go? And I remember just like letting go internally and just having there just be so much pain and chaos inside of me that I'll just close it up again, you know. Just yeah, I can't deal with that actually letting go. Yeah. So I mean my life started getting better there. Actually, yeah, midway through. This was in San Francisco and I started having to do this. So my life started getting much better, it started improving. Um
So
yeah.
do you think you said difficult books? Do you think the difficulty of the book as such was also a struggle that was helpful for you?
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Um yeah, concentrating on this thing to where like when I was a kid I didn't even have to concentrate on school in high school. I could just kind of jot whatever down and get a good grade. I was like, oh, cool. But yeah, this long form. It was something to look forward to, right? It was a chore that I had to do. It took up a lot of my time and kept me anchored, to house, you know, to my room, right? But it was in these concentration on difficult books, I created something that I could look forward to because at first I was going on my phone during it and going on, YouTube or whatever, Instagram, but it just became so boring and shallow that I because I was doing it so much that I just needed like something else. And then these difficult books like War and Peace by Tolstoy, like the Foundation um, series by Isaac Asimov, um, Monkey Wrench Gang. Oh, a few more. Oh, I started getting into postmodernism and Sartre. But yeah, um, yeah, those kinds of readings. Um, it was something that I could just, it was something that I could look forward to. Like now for me, it's like prayer and meditation. Throughout the day, I look forward to like praying to God, right? I look forward to that morning meditation, right? I look forward to these tasks that are lively and deepening, right? And in the interaction create more life at a pace which is not syncopated by some abstract entity. More so than even a movie, right? In a movie, it's like line by line, whatever time moves and things happen. It's not at your pace, but in the completely digital realm of even scrolling through a YouTube video, YouTube feed, or any one of these things, it's there's no room to settle in. So I was just really looking forward to that settling in and grounding. Yeah.
So you're in this place. You're getting imposed discipline by your disease. Um, you're self-imposing debt, and you're slowly discovering this new way of being. So
Yeah.
is there a moment where you're like, oh, there's something there, like I can see it, and now my journey changes, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're like it was like I never thought I had the ability to do it. Uh, like engage with a really long form novel. It's good. Um, yeah. I never thought that I was worthy of engaging with such things. But then through the novels, I found that I am. In fact,
You had a
or
built-in
not even.
reverence already for these books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did, but I'd spend a lot of my time like just like pretending to read, like in high school, just not doing it. Um, I don't know. I guess my reverence was more outward oriented rather than, and it became inward oriented. But then that's also an issue in itself. So these books, like especially War and Peace, really oriented to me the higher. There's higher things, you know. There's higher beauty. There's higher satisfactions out there. These things exist. Yeah.
Mhm. And you went and chased after them. Did you chase after them because of your disease, or did you chase after them because of themselves?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was seeking. Um, it was kind of both. Um, I think during that time on the sitz baths, I was definitely chasing after them for themselves. Um, and but it was both. It's a funny story. Those sitz baths eventually ended. Um, I didn't have to do them anymore. It's kind of a conundrum that they ended, but after that, I had to start. We'll see. This is where I don't want to. I had to start dilating my anus like twice a day, 5 minutes at a time, which is what I'm doing now, and I've been doing that for like the last 4 years. No, 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 not four. No, 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 no. It's been about three and a half, 3.5 years. Yeah. So yeah, and then that I closed off. When I started doing that, I became very resentful again. I closed off to those higher things, and I started listening to people like Tim Ferriss, uh, to Farnham Street, um, to just these nothing against them at all. Um, they're just organizations, people that want to grab the utility out of life, right? Rather rather than just seeking what is good and useful, for the sake of itself, for the
Mhm.
sake of its beauty. even for the sake of its practicality, right? I'm sure over on the left side, they're all about practicality and stuff, but it's mostly about, utility. What tools, what are,
you ran back into the tool shed trying to establish control.
yeah. And instead of like, what are the inner tools for greatness? It's like, what are the outer tools for greatness, right? Mm-hmm. What are the tools without that are for greatness instead of.
So you had this sense that the inner greatness could come as a consequence of the outer greatness.
Yes. Oh yeah. Big time. Yeah. Started developing unhealthy attachments. I'm not going to get too into that. But yeah. Just fixating like, yeah. Where's my stuff? When I'm getting dread, it's like, yeah. And then, So
you got sucked back in. Did you drag yourself back out?
I got sucked back in. I didn't drag myself back out. I drug out along with the Discord community. Side by side.
So how did that work for you?
It was a long, enduring path, the thing about those meditations about Vervaeke is that I would say that a lot of my demons became very apparent. It wasn't until Christianity came along that the question of like, I don't know, the things that were making me hold on to the demons, right, were seeming just so ridiculous, right? And the Vervaeke practices are those of awareness for me, and then the Sangha is those of navigating this. Now that we're aware, how do we go about navigating? And then Christianity comes in, and sweeps up and it's like, that's good, that's bad, get rid of that. Keep that, work on that, right? Work on this, do that. And it gives me the the purpose to try to live life as good as possible.
Mm-hmm. So you used the word ridiculous. Christianity allowed me to see what was ridiculous about my demons. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So through following Christ, well, in the body of the Catholic Church, a disclaimer, it's a way of life, right? It's a dogma where it's like, no, you don't entertain that, you don't bring that up. If someone is trying to bring that in here, it's not their fault, but they're influenced by the same bad spirits that influence you, you fallen being. So therefore we're creating this palace, building these walls into this around this chaotic world that that seeps in no matter what we do. But we've been around long enough to know, to be able to orient, what is good within our realm of operating. Yeah. What it's done, and it's done that for me. It's done, like, I mean, when you look at the world, it's just morally gray. Like, it's not perfect. It's not completely evil. There's beauty inside, and the grace of God shines the light on that beauty. But I mean, I am a fallen creature who's subject to all kinds of things, all kinds of evil things, like the Stoics say, this is a big thing for me. Like the Stoics say, you got to expect the worst, but hope for the best, and keep this orientation coming along. So, the worst, I expect to go to hell. I expect to die and have eternal damnation, but I really hope to have eternal life in heaven. Yeah.
So can you say a little bit more about the ridiculousness? Like how does that appear to you? Like,
how does it appear to me? Yeah. Was I dancing? Yeah,
it's a big shift, right? Like, it's like, oh, like this is the biggest deal, and now it's like, oh yeah, that's silly, right? Like, like,
yeah. That's like, yeah, I know. It was, yeah, it just became, the ridiculousness is hard to describe. I can try. So, like, what is the ridiculousness?
It's related to the place that you're standing, right? Like, you're standing at a place and you're watching from the place, right? And you change the place where you're standing, right? Like, now you're standing in the religious frame, and you used to be either in the egoic frame or the secular frame.
Egoic, secular frame. What's the difference?
Good question.
So, it's I could feel like this morning I was like, when I sin, a lot of the times, sometimes not. There are things that I know I shouldn't be doing, that I could be doing something much better, but it's still just, it feels great, like smoking, for instance. Like when I'm smoking, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then, when I'm not smoking, I'm like, thou shalt not deprive thy lungs of breath. Like, what am I doing right now? Like, don't deprive your lungs of breath. Come on. But yeah, certain things, like in sinning, when I'm keeping my eye on trying to follow Christ, like the Vatican did a lot to degrade this. But when I'm keeping my eye, or not keeping my eye, but keeping myself facing Christ, trying to face Christ and follow him. When I sin, a lot of the times I can feel myself turning away from Christ. I can just feel the turning away, just because this is where the guilt comes in. I feel guilty because I'm turning away from Christ, because I love him so much, and he is God. But now I can feel myself. I can feel like sort of a feeling of turning away from him, and that keeps me on the track. That's generally what, and that orientation is upward, right? It's not around me. Right. Yeah.
So do you have the sense of the turning away in relation to your disease as well?
Yeah, but not when the pain starts, right? Not when the things are happening, but how I'm interacting with it. Like, it could be doing something much better. with my time that actually helps. That's hard, it's a struggle to do it, right? But I tend to say, like for instance, like, the other night, my friend, her husband just went off to Poland, right? And there's all kinds of things going on there, unfortunately, the American military is just full of lies. But to the soldiers' families, full of lies, and lies that the families know that they're lying to them because they're, their loved ones are telling them something much different. But so, and then we prayed the Divine Mercy Chaplet together. I showed her what that is. She's not very religious, but she said it helped a lot. She said, oh man, she was like, thank you so much for doing this. So I gave her my rosary, right? And then I went home that night and I was like, I don't need to pray tonight. And then I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh no. Yeah. Just feeling that not sticking to my obligations to Christ, and in turn my obligations to other people, that like feedback from others just seems so much less significant, in the yeah.
So
like even the pain feels just like less significant.
Mm-hmm.
Like the pain, the physical feelings, they're so less significant as compared to the higher satisfactions of following Christ. It's sort of that.
All right, so I guess we're almost in the present, unless you have some things about your journey, right? Like maybe some significant events, or are we at the here and
now? I appreciate this podcast, man.
No. We're not gonna stop yet. I just like what like in this Vervaeke era, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any significant changes apart from the fact that you found Christ?
Oh, yes. Yes. So much more focus. Much more of an awareness of using tools and not letting them use me. Much more apt at turning bull crap away. Like I'll start a new podcast or something and I'll be like, too political. Whereas before I'd be like, oh my God, these guys are so smart. Wow. They have really good opinions. Damn. So yeah. Yeah. An interest in human beings rather than just humanity. Yeah. So, through the meditation, it's like I literally have to go through people that I hate and wish them health and happiness. This is ridiculous. I think in life that you're working against me, but I just, okay. All right. It's funny. Yesterday I don't know if you think this, but I had a thought, like a realization when I was doing the ending part of Vervaeke meditation where, there is no enemy greater than my own mind and body. There's no ally greater than my own mind and body. I was like, so like that, the antithesis of enemy is not friend, right? It's ally. Right.
Oh enemy yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Right. Isn't that, I think, I don't know. I have to explore that more, right? And good thing Rebecca, you taught me how to meditate, so I can do that. But so yeah, I've watched like 10 episodes of Awakening from the Meaning Crisis, and it's like, yeah, there is a meaning crisis, you know. But the real thing has been the Discord community, and the meditation series has been the real. Oh, and the Cultivating Wisdom series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm now writing essays in college. I'm like, oh, God. Like, you know, it's just such a different way of looking at life than what I was ever open to beforehand. I mean, I guess I was open to it, but I wasn't open to it because I wasn't receiving it.
Yeah, blind, no eyes to see.
Blind, blinded. But the thing is, Raveki made me realize how blind I actually am, and how I will be for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's that like that I'm not gonna say like, you know, oh, it's, you know, the Humean way of blah blah blah. You know what I mean? That little platform.
But I when you said, right, like, Viveki made me realize how blind I am, and right, like the feeling that I got from you is not a sense of frustration. It's a sense of acceptance.
Well, no, because I'm never gonna
even
stop.
relief, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's this shift. It's like, okay, I'm blind. Well, like, let's just accept that I'm blind, and maybe I can see more than I did before. Right?
Yeah.
Frame it in a positive way.
Because before I was doing this like a cross thing, like, does the light come from outside or inside? Outside or inside? Outside, inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking it would coming from inside. Then I was like, no, not. I mean, not really. You can let it. You can receive it to the inside. It doesn't come from the outside, though. You know, it comes from this. This is so much more than what I thought of the world beforehand, right? And then Vervaeke just opened me up to this whole thing. Like, it's weird because he in his meditation series, in his Cultivating Wisdom series, he prescribes a lot of spiritual, like Christian texts, like straight up Christian texts. But he just never, you know, he just, I don't want to talk about him like that, but I don't know. I guess it's this whole thing of, I am going to open up your mind and let you make your own decision.
Mm-hmm.
And do these practices. I gotta say, I don't like that he's like, yeah, just, yeah, man, just make your own thing. You know what I mean? He should be like, no, you should be, you know, wearing a robe, you doing all these things, being like, this is it, this is how you do it. Do this for at least a decade, you know, every day, and then maybe come talk to me, and we'll see if you can change it up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, that's the message. I don't know if he should preach it, but yeah, that's the message.
That's what I want from him. I want him to lay the law down. I want to be like, you know what, y'all.
Well, okay,
I want to be like, we're all blind. I teach how to uncover things and cover other things as well. You know.
So we're definitely in the
be okay
present
with
now.
what I'm unfolding to you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Well, you're unfolding your soul. That's what's happening.
Well, I'm unfolding my soul. But to what? To what though?
well, that's what we're gonna figure out, right? So now we're in the present. So what?
Yeah.
What's the future like? Like, where are we going? Like, what role is this disease going to play in your future? And you have all of the spiritual work done. Like, well, you're not done.
Yeah, I
you,
wish
in the middle.
I know.
Or the beginning,
I
even.
know. Yeah, during all this time, you know, my dream was to become a philosophy professor, but it's clear now that at least the American universities as they stand ain't it. So I know there's great people in there, but I mean, the institutions as a whole, it's not happening. So in the future, continue studying Vervaeke, continue listening to him and his QAs, continue participating in the Discord communities, trying to find that bridging of meaning between each other and between our ways of life, between our traditions, between our cultures. Mostly the bridge of meaning between Protestants and Roman Catholics and Orthodox. Bridging a meaning within Christianity. Getting that one church under Jesus Christ, no matter what it looks like.
That's all really big things. Let's.
Oh, sorry. That's a huge thing, isn't it? That's not going to happen in my lifetime.
Yeah, okay. That's not going to happen through you. So like
immediately. Okay.
No. I have questions, right? So it's interesting that you're connecting the Discord community to the future. So I'm involved in there. So what do you see the role of the Discord community in your future? Like how do you see that evolving?
I see it as an apostolic hub to where we may bridge and go out to our own communities and try to get this thing going in person. And then for those about like some people just work better online, and that's great. We have Discord community. And then also like for events, I mean, it's just so convenient going online. But yeah, as an apostolic hub, yeah, that's what I see.
Right. So I think the Christians have this idea of a calling.
Yes. From God.
You have found your
not
calling?
From Discords. Yeah. Yeah. No, man. I mean, I just love what I love. Like, I love to cook. Oh, I got to show you an omelet I made this morning. It was intensely amazing. I love to cook. I mean, I love to like read philosophy, religion, mostly Christianity and the Tao Te Ching and a little Buddhism. Well, Tao, so like Chuang-Tzu, in the Catholic lens, because the Catholic Church has done a great job. The Jesuits have done a great job of translating these texts and bringing them to the church. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I love what I mean, work-wise and to make money-wise. So because of the Crohn's, it's recent. I was working for my dad, but he does heavy labor for a living. So it's very clear that I can do physical labor, like let's say like a couple times a week. But as far as having a career where there's a lot of physical labor that's involved, my body just doesn't work like that. Like even like being a carpenter or something. Is going to be too much of a stress because of the Crohn's. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So, in terms of like future like career, I'm working on getting a certificate in drafting, and I'm also working on rebuilding my tech skills from what I lost when I went, super crazy, nihilistic, hateful. But yeah,
So yeah, one thing I'm not hearing you say is,
okay.
Yeah, there we go. Shadow coming up.
Maybe.
But yeah, you said you started to learn to look at humans instead of humanity.
Oh yeah, of course.
What is the role of humans in your future?
That is a goal. I mean, the role of humans is, don't third-party observe anybody or any group of people, okay? Like, if you have, I just want a subjective community that I participate in. And then, I don't know, having the tools within our community to interact with other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't have to know about this category, this blah blah blah. I just need to eat, drink, have shelter, you know, have medications for now. But it's like, I mean, this whole like observing, like, it's very dehumanizing. It's not, and that's like humanity, you know? You're like, wow, humanity, look all the different races and cultures and religions. You can't know everything, right? It's like this problem that I have where I don't think I'm omniscient, but I'm constantly pursuing like the potential to be omniscient. Like knowing like what the proper tools are to use so that when I need to, I can be like, bam, use this for that. Bam, use this for that. Bam, you know, I see everything according to the context of the situation. But I'm really trying to like rid myself of that tendency of mine. Yeah. And
So
it's
to
yeah.
summarize your relationship to humans, right? So you see your role more as building in the community as opposed to
Building, yes.
as opposed to reaching out from the community to get people in. Because I'm with
Yes.
you.
Yeah, just build it. Yeah, don't depend on like, hey, come here. Look. Look at how great this is. Oh, you know. It's like yeah, no. No, you build it. You build the church, right? You don't cater to it. You know, you build the church and people walk in there and you're like, you're a sinner, you know? It's like
Get out.
yeah. No, they say no, come back anytime, but you're terrible. You are miserable.
You're miserable and you know it. Clap your hands.
Yeah, all the Catholics be like, yeah. Yeah, building, yeah, rather than attracting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of my life trying to, I'm a pretty attractive guy, so I go out to bars, I get female attention and stuff. So I've spent my life being attractive, but that's no, gotta build things. It's a waste of time to be attractive, really. It's a complete waste of time. But or trying to be attractive as well. It's just waste of time. At least I don't know. I like it when women wear makeup. I'm not one of those no makeup feminist guys. I think they look great. But so women do it. Go ahead. But I don't know.
I'll save you from yourself.
I like makeup. Just slap it on, please.
Calm down. That was yesterday.
Oh, that was yesterday.
but yeah. So you say building. When I say what are you going to build? What pops up?
Oh, I mean, build.
That's taking way too long, dude.
No, build a spiritual life.
Oh, you're going to build yourself, and then yourself is going to build the rest?
No, I am going to build the spiritual life of the community, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to build myself as an individual. That doesn't exist. I don't exist without other people.
Yeah, it's
build.
When Jack
if I
falls...
build it and no one comes, who's going to maintain it? Anyway.
You are.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I'm ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So do you have aspirations there, or is it just like you're going on fate for now?
Going on fate.
Well, that's a good answer.
Yeah. I'm reading that book Beyond Fate that Vervaeke recommended by Margaret Visser. Oh, such a good book. she gives out like plots, like shapes of what fate is, right? Fate is time in a circle, right? Inevitably. And then fate is a circle. Yeah, fate is circular. And then chance too, she describes the difference between chance and fate. And chance is like a series of dots that you jump to and you hope, that this is gonna be it. This is gonna be it. That's chance.
I actually am not gonna have this discussion, but I think I disagree.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's not do
that. So let's kind of start making a closing thing here.
Okay.
So, do you feel like there's still something that you want to mention?
No.
Chronic disease
has been good. Chronic disease. This has been a presentation. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, like how about you do a 2-3 line summary?
Oh, yes, of course. Hello, my name is Jack. I have Crohn's disease, but disease isn't, it's painful. It gets in the way of things, but our disabilities aren't what's evil about our lives. Our ability isn't what defines us. And I don't mean that in a woke way. I mean that in a way that there is so much more to life than your illness. And your illness is the things keeping you down that seem to be keeping you down aren't the evil things in your life, essentially. And I think that's a summary.
Well, that's not only a summary, that's a message. So
isn't a summary supposed to have a message? Oh, okay.
Maybe, depending.
No, it's not.
Well, it could. Anyway, so I'd invite everybody to give their own summary of the lessons that they learned from Jack's story in the comment section, and then Jack can get some feedback and can see more of his shadow. And I'd like to invite you all to the next episode, whenever that's going to be. Thank you, Jack, for being an awesome guest. And,
thank you, Manuel.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.